got to roll with it. You got to take your time. You got to say what you say and don't let any other podcast get in your way. I'm Adam. This is Tom. And this is Josh. And this is the Mad For It Podcast. The boys on the road to Oasis live in 2025.
Episode 4.
It's episode 5.
Episode 5. Right, boys. Saturday Night Live just came out recently, talking about the US tour, getting people excited. We saw some of the footage come through. What do we think? People are obviously, everyone's got something to say about everything Oasis currently. What are we saying about this hilarious comedy sketch?
When were Oasis born in London and not in Manchester will be my first point off it.
What? They're not Cockney geezers? What do you mean?
Cockney geezers,
We talk
Oasis.
like this, don't you know?
Yeah, it's rubbish, isn't it? It's like just Americans being like, oh, well, Oasis are back. Do you know what? They're kind of a bit funny, aren't they? They don't like each other, so we'll make a joke about it. But then, oh, you could do a British accent. Yeah, I could do a British accent. I'm from Manchester. It's like, off. Like, I mean, it's not that offensive. Who cares? Like,
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, whoever's watching that
One,
anymore.
it's like, I don't know much about it because I'm English and we, like, it's crap. It's so naff. Anyway, everything on it's naff. There's nothing good about it. And this was one extra thing. And
I get that, like, they write it in the week and it's like every single week.
Yeah.
But if that's the best comedians the American come up with,
Well,
like
you know,
they were bouncing around as if they had like ants in their pants.
yeah.
The weird hosts and the terrible jokes. I'm
yeah.
surprised that made the cut. I'd love to see what else was in that program because
You made a really good point. Is that when at the end of the sketch it pans out and there's the second, the second guy was sitting there. The announcer guy was there, and he was no part of it the whole time. I was like, okay, fair enough. Leave him out.
It's funny because the blonde guy, he is Scarlett Johansson's husband.
Yeah, that's devastating for
And
everyone.
I see it, and it's like, of course she's not just going to go for a normal bloke. Like
She didn't
she's
go
gonna
for
go
you,
for
I'm
this really
sorry.
handsome,
Didn't work out.
unfunny guy. He's just like a jock comic or whatever he is. I don't know what he is like. But yeah, it's just shit. Like they got their edgy little joke in about like the two guys being brothers even though they're different races or something. It's like, oh, we're brothers.
Yeah, I didn't get that. What's that?
The joke is completely missed because you can't see the race of the other guy.
Oh.
So you're just like, oh, okay. I
we
guess
watched
if you
we were
watch
like,
it,
what?
if you watch it every week, you're probably like, oh, this is great. This.
Right.
Nobody watches it, and the joke is just so on, like, not even on the nose. It's just.
But what was the joke? The fact that they're brothers and
And
they
they
don't
fall
get
out.
on. That's it.
But
It was
they-
like 3 minutes of
but
that. That's like
it was.
one
It
joke,
was
surely
kind of
within a bigger
insufferable.
sketch.
But they're acting like kids, right? That's the whole joke. Is that they think they're adults and the world treats them like these big rock gods, but essentially they're just two brothers mucking around and they're just big babies. And it's like, okay, fine. Did Noel endorse this? Did he
Yeah.
like, let's get some more buzz out there in America. Let's get some tickets sold and let's.
It's like the thing of it. It's like not even news. It's just that it's bad and it's rubbish, and it doesn't even like. It's not offensive. It's not funny.
I find it offensive.
It's just
Yeah, I do.
nothing. It's
But
absolutely.
We're talking
nothing.
about it.
No,
so
yeah,
it
but that's
worked.
the thing. We're giving it more credit because it's
Yeah,
like
we are far more
it's
credit.
just poorly constructed. It doesn't even make kind of sense. There's no effort in it putting it. It's like, oh, we might not do this. We might not stay together. And it's like,
that accent's already better than the one
Yeah,
they do in
exactly.
the program because there was a
Yeah.
bit of mank
It's
in
like
there.
I was in the room with him.
Yeah.
like I don't really know much of like. I guess they're just their whole thing is it's current news
Mhm.
like this podcast. Yeah, so they have to do a story on it, but it's probably like a last minute. Like, oh well, we've got to do something.
If you've got nothing to funny say, it's funny to say you're meant to be the biggest comedy show.
Yeah, I
in
guess
America,
if you have to
and,
film
like,
90 minutes a week,
it's 90 minutes.
it might be an hour, but it's probably 90 minutes with adverts. Like, but
Mm.
yeah, like I don't know. I know one of them, Sarah Schwirm or something. I don't know if she's that. I've seen her on podcast. She seems all right, but
Well,
Do
absolutely.
you think anyone involved with the sketch or the acting of it knew anything about Oasis?
Well, apparently, Scarlett Johansson's husband is because he's going to have White Boy Mosh Summer 2024 or
yeah,
something.
that
So
was
he's like,
strange as well.
well, I'm going to go Mosh. It's like, oh my god!
Well, he
like,
should have been in the bloody sketch
Yes.
then. He should have been one of the
Yeah.
two of them then if he knows the...
I certainly can't wait to roll with them. Like, might as well
in the
have said
mosh
something like that.
area.
I love that song Water Wall. That's
Yeah.
really great. Yeah.
It's funny because I saw that Fast. I don't know if it's Fast Show where it's all those guys.
yeah.
And they do the sketch
That's
of
what I
the
was going to
record
say,
producer.
Mr. Wells. Yeah.
And it's so funny.
It's so
and it's
good.
like,
It's bang on, and he does the accent, and they get everything right. And they also actually did another sketch in the Fast Show when they did Jazz Club, but they changed it and they called it like Rock Club or something, just like one-off episode. And he was in this guy. It's what's his name, Simon Thingy, and he's building this band up, building them up. And then when it gets to the song, it's like this really like happy '60s song, and it's like completely not tough at all. And I just thought, yeah, that's the vibe of Oasis, because when sometimes you listen to them, you're like, yeah.
yeah, it's just like, obviously they're putting stuff together weekly. Now, well, we've got to talk about this, and like, who can do a British accent? They've only got two
No
people
one.
who
Well,
are
none of
popular on
them.
it.
No one.
And they could do an impression of a London accent, but they don't hear it any different. Like, Americans don't. I guess if they live here a bit, they'll understand the difference in accents.
But they got Downton Abbey, haven't they?
Well, yeah, but that's the only thing they hear. It's like, well, that's
Yeah.
England. They're not watching Queer as Folk or
Coronation
Ken Loach
Street.
films,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, Corrie. Like, they're not,
Sorry,
they're
on
not-
Netflix.
they're
Yeah.
not like watching that, so they don't know the dialects. They might know a Birmingham accent, and that's as far as it's
Or
going to go.
Liverpool because of the Beatles, right?
It's like everybody, maybe Liverpool, if they can do a Paul McCartney accent. They can't do a Scouse accent. They can only do a Paul McCartney accent.
All right, mate, I'm Paul McCartney.
But yeah, it's so I don't blame them, because like anytime I've been to America and I've tried to talk to anybody with my accent,
Oh yeah,
they have
that's a nightmare.
no idea.
Yeah.
Even at work, like recently, I was talking to someone on a radio, and they're just like, "Sorry, what?" And it's like, so people aren't used to that, so they probably just hear someone and they're like, "Oh, that's a guy who's got a speech impediment, but he's from London."
Right.
So
Well,
they-
normally they do the Australian accent when American people do English, don't they? They
Yeah,
always fall into Australian.
my favourite thing is Americans doing British accents. It's like, I find it the funniest thing.
That's
and
my
I
worst
didn't
thing. I can't
find-
stand it.
I love it. I love when they're like, "Oh yeah, Tuesday, innit?" Like
Yeah.
videos like that.
Oh yeah, in
find
little
it
clips, but when people do
so
it
funny.
everywhere
I
else,
don't
I'm
like them doing
oh.
it to me. It upsets me to no end. But like, I like hearing it. But that Oasis one didn't make me laugh at all. I was just there, stood there like, "Fuck
It
off!"
was just
Like, don't do that.
It
Like,
was just a bit embarrassing, wasn't it? The whole sketch was just a bit like.
If it's
"Oh,
such a bad
okay."
accent, though, it is funny. That
Yeah.
was just sort of the good enough to make it really unfunny. It was a sweet spot of unfunniness. If you found that funny, you're dumb.
yeah. What was one of the jokes? It's like, "Yeah, they convinced me that I can pee out my bum if I squeeze my testicles."
Right,
or
but that's them playing as kids, right? Which is the whole underlying joke of the whole thing, is that they're like playground level.
yeah, they're like,
they're
"What?"
stupid and they're.
I guess it's funny
childish.
from an outside perspective
Well, that's what I'm trying
of
to
just
think.
not
like,
knowing anything, because it's like, I can't imagine they only know about this tumultuous relationship
Mhm.
after the fact that they've come back, and it's like, oh, they're back because they had a falling out. I can't imagine it was massive news
Mm.
out in the US. Like, all the stuff that happens with Oasis here would be like front page news or whatever. Over there, it's like the only thing I can imagine that they've seen really in the US is that Tiara. Is it TRL?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the thing with Carson Daly where Liam Gallagher goes.
Oh, right.
Just
yeah.
like
and he's
swaddles
just
all
like,
on and
he's
like,
he's like, I've
Can I go
completely
now?
out of it.
Yeah.
And he's just like looking and just stood there like being odd.
That's
like,
a great clip. Yeah.
yeah, it's great. But that's probably their only like American kind of based thing. Like,
Mhm.
I can't, there's no monumental US clip. There probably is now that I'll cut in a mention on the screen because we're out of our ignorance. But like,
Well, I
of,
wonder
like
if they-
cut to them playing in front of the DC monument to almost a million
People.
people or
Well, I
something.
wonder if
George
all the-
Washington there.
Yeah.
If their tours all sold out and all that, you know, how quick it went. And like,
I think it went pretty quick as well, but they only had a small amount of dates in, I assume, cities where there's a bunch of people who claim to be Irish, and therefore they love Oasis because it's like, well, Oasis, they're from Ireland, kind of. Their mum's from Ireland, and they're just a blind kind of allegiance to that kind of stuff.
Hello, mate. I'm from Dublin.
Yeah,
Glad to see the Oasis boys.
You've got to roll with it, son. It's London.
That's it. Well, my mate in Australia just got a ticket to an 82,000 people venue. He said he waited 20 minutes online and then it just went straight through. No dynamic pricing, none of this. And he's an expat from the UK. So, you know, he's got it better than
All these
I
gigs
had
in the
it.
expats, though, aren't they?
Yeah,
Surely.
yeah.
It's good that they could get tickets like that in Australia with relative ease. The only issue is you have to live in Australia, so you have to see Oasis in Australia. Like, never been.
So I know that Liam Gallagher's already commented on it via Twitter or whatever. I saw it on like Australian news for some reason. But yeah, I can't remember what he said. Was it like, aren't they supposed to be comedians
Yeah.
or something? So, I mean, he's pretty quick about it. He's seen it. It's out there.
He's not wrong.
It's like, yeah, he's just like, it's no honor for him to be on Saturday Night Live as like a point, and it's just like they're thinking like, oh no, this would be good. It's like, and he's like, doesn't care
No.
in any way.
Wait until the new year, though, when they appear on there to like promote the tour.
I mean, they played
think it would-
before.
Yeah.
Matthew Perry
Well,
hosted.
that's like a big thing, isn't it?
Oh,
to
you
go
think
and
they're going to play Saturday Night Live?
Well,
No.
they could do.
They're not going to play it. They're
Noel's
not going to play
gonna
anything.
come out of the bunker. Noel's not coming out of his
Yeah,
bunker.
I
anytime
don't. They
soon.
don't have to play anything. They're not going to just show up on shows because they haven't got anything to sell. They've already sold their tour out, so they don't
That's
have a
true.
new song or a new album to sell like they would have done back in the day to break America. So they've got no reason to do any kind of press because they're going to play the shows that are already sold out. So SNL to them is but beneath them.
Well, I saw this weird thing that came up on my Instagram today. It was like an advert for Sky, and it was like a documentary, and it was like a split screen between Liam and Noel. So, I mean, if it's Sky, they're not just going to pump out like random vids. But I wonder if that's like an upcoming Sky Atlantic documentary about, and they're talking like today or very recently. So I wonder if it's like there's going to be like a Sky thing on that, like a
It's
glossy
funny,
There
documentary.
must be a tour documentary come off the back of it.
Oh,
Surely.
afterwards, but I'm talking like
Oh, right now.
Yeah.
It's
like
funny because
pre-Christmas.
Liam said someone tweeted at Liam and asked him if they're going to do any interviews or press,
Yeah.
and he was like, "No." But I don't know if I've read something that was actually a thing or just somebody writing some bullshit article saying like, "Well, we just don't want to do interviews because we don't want people just like kind of picking and trying to undo
Yeah,
what
that
we've
would-
kind of
Mm.
fixed."
Yeah. It'd
So
be
I
like-
don't. I looked at it and it's kind of trying to find the actual tweets in these articles is like a nightmare. Like you get to the bottom of you get to the comment section of an article by the time you're like, where is the info? It's all just a lie to get you to click it. So I take everything with a grain of salt.
Do you think it would turn into like a Prince Andrew interview where it's like, you know, talking about the band? It's like, why did you do dynamic pricing? And he just like starts
Yeah.
sweating and
Yeah,
it's
like absolutely, like anything to kind of get provoke a reaction out of
Yeah.
anyone and get like. Problem is, it's like, now it is like bad press is the only press basically.
yeah, especially bad press being that we now know who the support bands are.
Yes. So Cast and Richard Ashcroft support
Yeah.
bands.
Was it the Independent announced that as of today of recording this?
Yeah, Dickie
Uh,
Ashcroft.
Yeah, so
And-
old Dickie is going to be up there doing his because he was one of the names we mentioned.
Yeah,
Because I think we were like Dickie Ashcroft's ain't not going to do that. Dickie Ashcroft's above it. I think that was mine and Adam's thing, but
Big
Yeah,
Dickie
he's-
Ashcroft is there. Isn't he?
he's in there, mate. Yeah, he's not Ian Brown. He's not Stone Roses. He's not the Smiths. He's not the Jam. But
it's not
yeah.
Paul Heaton.
Oh yeah,
Definitely not.
But Dickie's going to be there, give us some bittersweet symphonies.
Yeah, like my thoughts of it is I've never been a Verve fan, so I'm like, it's even one of those things. There's probably a Verve song that I would know, but wouldn't even know it's them. Like I know Bittersweet Symphony, Drugs Don't Work.
Yeah.
That's
Lucky
about it.
Man.
What?
Lucky Man.
I don't know how that one goes.
I can't sing it because of copyright strikes.
Oh,
So
okay.
sorry.
But yeah, there'll definitely be things there. So hopefully he plays that and he isn't playing the singles of Richard Ashcroft.
We'll do a bit of everything, right?
I imagine so.
Yeah.
Because I imagine that's what he does at his gigs. Because maybe like he can't just sell out rooms and just play Richard Ashcroft exclusively. But he might do.
They're quite safe choices. We were talking about someone like a Blossoms, but
Yeah.
they're not. They're both old
There's still
school.
time.
Old school.
There's still time.
They're not
But
going to pay another band, are they? They're not going to pay a
But-
third support.
I
That's
mean,
eating their money.
Is it officially announced or is it just?
Well, it was.
I think
didn't,
it is official.
Yeah,
Didn't
like
it
because
come
look
out
at it,
as
it's only
Ireland?
that them who put it out, and yeah. So Richard Ashcroft will be interesting. It's like it's not something that I would actually say. I would be like, oh, I better get in to see Richard Ashcroft, but that's my own personal take. Neither's Cast really, but the more I've been listening to just random Britpop playlists over since Oasis come out, that walk away every time I hear it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is sick.
Yeah.
So I would actually go to hear that live.
4
like,
hours before.
I don't care
to hear
about
one
Bittersweet
song.
Symphony. I've never liked that song.
No.
Just reminds me of like football highlights from the 90s.
I don't know. I think it'd be good. I think that's the right people for the right crowd. I think it's just like we kind of said, it's kind of lukewarm enough that it's not going to steal the show. It's not going to take the shine off of anything. It's not like a Johnny Marr, getting everyone to sing to Charming Man, getting all the energy that high. I mean, Bittersweet Symphony would be a banger, drugs don't work.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but I think it's kind of mild enough that
I think Ashcroft and Johnny Marr are like a coin toss.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah, they're going to do
we got the wrong side of the coin.
They're going to do the same thing, which is be safe, but with good songs that people know.
Mm-hmm.
And they're no threat. They're not going to upstage Oasis. There is zero threat to them upstaging the main band.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're said, but and I think to the right people, if you're going to see Oasis and Richard Ashcroft supported, that's probably like the dream day. So this is definitely going to appeal to people.
100%.
They're going to be like, but a funny thing, speaking of Cast, who are also supported, I saw in that article that Noel Gallagher explained seeing Cast years ago as like a religious experience of like how much he enjoyed it, or as Tom you said earlier,
just fell asleep.
Yeah, bored to tears in church. But yeah, so I'm assuming hopefully we'll see some magic that Noel saw at some point.
Yeah, I mean they've only got the one big album, right? I
think they had a top.
They've got more
top 20 charting album, maybe not top 20, just outside the top 20 this year. And
it's fronted by the bass player from the Lars, and the infamous Lars story is that who's the guy that does Tubular Bells? Mike Oldfield.
Yeah.
He just keeps recording that album because he just hasn't got it right, and his whole life has been dedicated to re-recording that album 1,000 times. I think it's the same problem with the Lars. I think they did like 2 or 3 versions of that album over like 5 years, and everyone just kind of went crazy.
Perfectionism gone wrong. Yeah.
So he's like, right, I'm going to start Cast, and we're going to go on the Oasis kind of uproar, because obviously I think the Lars were a little bit before Oasis. So yeah, good luck to the man. We'll see him, and we'll see what they've got to say for themselves.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great.
Don't sound convinced.
So when we go eventually to see Oasis, are we getting in there early to see Cast?
No.
No. See, I want to see Cast over Dickie Ashcroft.
We can't just stroll in at like 7 o'clock. We have to queue up at 1, don't we?
It's the event.
We have
to be at the event.
We can't do 9 months of a podcast and not go to the full gig, right?
We've got to be at the full event. We've got to witness it all, warts and all.
Yeah, religious or
warts
not.
being £9 beers, because with the way inflation's going for gigs.
It's going to be worse than that by then.
And we'll go there. We'll spend a vast amount of money on booze. We'll be out there and it's like, it's playing. And then they'll play a Cast song about, I know this one as well, actually. I know this. They're playing There She Goes as well. Great. And then, and then Walk Away will come, and the sway will go. There'll be no phone lights out because it's still 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah. But we'll be there and we'll just be like, whatever it is, walk away, and it'll be great. Really, and then everybody, and we'll come out of it and we'll be like, do you know what? For that sing along alone, that was worth it. Then we'll wait again. Then
Dickie 4 hours.
Dickie Ashcroft will come on and do
those songs that we all know.
Get it on. Getting on. He'll do a cover of T-Rex. I don't know. I don't know what the drugs don't work.
He's got to do Get It On now.
Bittersweet Symphony and
the other one too.
Yeah, whatever other song. And then there'll be things in that will be like, this is the Verve as well. Sweet. And we'll find that there'll be 5 songs in there that we'll know the words to, and everybody will be all excited as well. It'll be a nice calm before the storm, I think.
It's very calm. It's actually an interesting thing, especially if he ends on like Bittersweet Symphony. That's very relaxing. That's not like getting rowdy.
Yeah, but it's an anthem, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but
it's that swagger.
People aren't going to be in the marsh pit. They're not going to be in
the marsh pit.
The marsh pit. They're not going to be in that for Bittersweet Symphony, are they?
No, but I think there'll be a bounce. There'll be a euphoric bounce.
A really slow bounce.
Yeah.
Slow motion.
But it's funny to have that, because then you're going to hear that song and then every other iconic Oasis song. That's like a pinnacle. Even the Cast Walk Away one is a pinnacle of Britpop right there. You're going to hear
95.
A selection of like anthems of Britpop from the 90s in one night.
Yeah.
And I think
magic.
Everyone's going to eat, myself included, we're going to eat it up, and it's going to feel so good. Like, I can't see like going there and seeing it. I think throughout it, everything's going to surprise us with all the support acts. We're going to be coming out glowing, and after I'm going to be like, actually, oh, what was that Richard
Yeah.
Ashcroft song?
Yeah.
What was that verse song?
And you get a
What was
Cast
that
tattoo.
Cast song? Yeah. There's another
Cast
thing with
boys.
Cast. I think the reason people like Cast is especially the way Northerners say it, like Cast.
Oh, because I say cast. Hello.
I think it's
Cast.
I
Welcome.
can imagine. Oh yeah, can I cast?
Cast, please.
The casting, but yeah, I
So I'm
think
gonna
it's a
start
nice
saying
word
cast
to
now.
say. I think it's one of the better band names
Cast.
because it's nice to say, like
Yeah.
Cast.
Fast.
Even though it's just such a normal word, like Oasis. Like you wouldn't think of Oasis as like a cool band name.
Mm.
Like you think Oasis and you think, oh, the band. I don't think of a tropical desert, or I don't think of this
Delicious
soft
drink.
drink made in
what
the
have we got here?
1960s.
Well, should we move on to our Oasis taste test?
Mm.
Tom has very kindly treated us to. There's apparently 3 types of Oasis, which is the red one, the yellow one, and a sugar-free yellow one.
Oh, sorry. There we are. So we should mention this is not a sponsorship thing.
No,
Not
We
yet.
paid for these. I paid like £1.30 for each of these.
This
off
one was
my-
£1.35
back.
actually.
Was it how much?
£1.35.
Oh,
So
look at that.
yeah.
That's
That's a bargain.
the red
Why
berries
did it
must
cost
be
me
dearer.
£8 in the shop then?
For those who might not have worked it out, we're going to drink this Oasis because we're doing a podcast about the band Oasis. And this is a drink called Oasis.
Oh, is that why we're doing it?
So here's the thing. The Oasis that I hate the most
Yes.
is this.
Which one?
I
The red
hate
one.
All of it.
Oasis.
No, but when's the last time you had Oasis?
I
When you were a
mean,
kid?
as an adult,
Like after swimming.
as at college,
You know what I
whenever
mean?
there's been Oasis, yeah, literally it is a swimmer's drink. Like,
No,
But-
Ribena is a swimmer's drink. Come
No,
on.
it's
Nah.
orange knickknacks in
Fucking-
Oasis. That's what it is.
because you couldn't afford it, that's why.
You
You
had
get
a
Yeah,
carton of
130, mate.
Ribena.
yeah,
was
there's something
all I
unsettling
needed.
about a boy drinking, a wet boy drinking out of a carton. It's an unsettling image.
We were happy. All right, so Josh, which one then was your favourite and which was your least favourite? I'm assuming you've not tried this new exotic fruit.
I haven't tried the exotic,
Which
'cause
looks
there wasn't-
exactly the same as the
that
citrus
looks
The
fruit.
orange one. There was just an orange one, which
Yeah,
we haven't got.
I've
yet.
only ever tried the
That
orange
is this,
one.
and actually, I think the colour when I last had
Oh.
this when I was a kid, it was bright orange, and now they
Yeah.
also had to take out a
Yeah.
lot of things in there, so it's quite pale. It's quite pissy looking, I would say.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So should we start with this one?
We'll start with this one, yeah.
Josh, you can start.
Okay.
What notes are you
Yeah, what
getting?
aromas?
Smells like kind of toilet cleaner.
Ooh.
Like just like the flavour of the
We're
one.
definitely not getting sponsored after this, are we?
No, it's still the same kind of just
Still the
flat,
Just
same.
orange. Like squash.
just flat and pleasant, like worse than squash. I don't know if it's because it's room temp, but like
Oh, I like to keep all my drinks room temp. Yeah.
But yeah,
Is it
it's
thinner than squash?
Just I don't
And that's the sugary one as well. Like,
rate it.
God help us.
I've got to be the
Well-
third one.
One of you guys reminded me like that McDonald's used to do Oasis. I don't know if they still do.
Oh, that tastes so much weaker than it used to.
It always had like
But-
never had any edge.
but
Oasis.
it
It's
has
like being in an Oasis. Oh no, if you're in an Oasis, you'd have water. It's like being in a desert.
That tastes exactly the same as how I remember it.
How are you burping? It's not fizzy.
Right, this one.
It's the magic of Oasis, mate.
This one is rubbish. They're all
That looks
rubbish,
gross.
but this one's terrible. Yeah, that's post swim. That's awful.
Now, what was your
Yeah.
favourite back in the day?
That
Oh,
wasn't
that's-
my favourite. I'd
There was
rather
only orange.
I
back
think
in
the
day.
orange was my
I didn't know there was
favourite.
more than one
I-
flavour.
The orange was
I
my favourite.
went in the shop expecting to get 3 oranges. I didn't realise there was more than one. But they franchised. They broadened their flavours.
Now that does taste the same as it used to, and it's horrible.
Yeah, it's rank, isn't it? It tastes like fruit winders, but in a
Yeah,
liquid
it does,
form.
yeah.
Mm.
Maybe that's what it is. I'm not putting that lid back on. I'm not
You
spinning it
refuse
now,
to,
do
I know.
Right, I'm going to start this one. All right, this is Oasis Zero. This is for the kind of person that wants to have a fun summer drink without the calories. You know,
This is for all you teetotalers at Wembley.
and as you can imagine, it's just as disgusting as all the others. You know, because if you take the fun out of something that's already miserable, what you're left with, the longer you leave it, the drier you get.
I think that's better than the other orange one.
Let's try.
False.
Let's try this.
False. I
Or
need
is
some
it?
of this one to get rid of that taste.
That tastes
Oh,
like
it's got a really horrible like bin aftertaste. to
It
it,
tastes
kinda
like-
like a burp.
Wait like another 5 seconds. So if you're out there, none of these were great. But maybe there's an extra flavour.
Right, what
out
was your
there that-
favourite then? That's what we need to decide here. This is the drink of the podcast.
Well,
now.
instead of favourite, I'll do least worst, which is probably the orange one because it does remind me of being a kid. Because it's got the nostalgic value to it, much like Oasis. All right, Adam. So, what was your favourite?
I actually now I've had a bit more of the aftertaste of the flat lilt. I think the classic citrus punch is the best.
2 so far.
Then the exotic fruits, new to me, interesting.
That's horrible.
Flat lilt, and then the third one, the red one, which I never liked, but it does have, compared to the citrus fruits, that same sort of like horrible furry teeth sugariness that I remember from back in the day, which the citrus fruits one doesn't so much now.
Okay, and Joshua?
I'd say this one, which I don't know if it is the OG one, but that one's the best one.
Citrus fruits.
Citrus fruits. Then the summer fruits is the second best, but it's awful. That's the one that sticks with me as childhood that I didn't like. And then this new one,
And yet you still prefer it to the new.
the zero one. Actually, the aftertaste is actually like a burp.
So I was right about burying drugs and alcohol in the park 10 months before the gig, because that's already happened in Manchester. Or it's like at least it's a thing that's come up on the news, like Heaton Park. People are already burying their stash. I'm going to be burying some delicious Oasis citrus fruits.
You know what? You'll probably get a bigger prison sentence for fucking burying this shite in the ground, poisoning the world.
Poisoning the grass. Yeah.
But while on the subject of Heaton Park, there's a video of Christopher Eccleston walking through Heaton Park, and he's like, "Yeah, Heaton Park is a beautiful park. I love coming here. It's one of my favourite places to come in Manchester area. And it's filled with shit. There's people shit everywhere. Picnics, dirty nappies. This world is going to take its revenge." It's like he's so aggressive about it, but he loves Heaton Park so much.
He should wait to see what it's like after the Oasis
Oh,
gig.
mate, it's going to
Dirty
kill him.
nappies galore.
It's going to kill him.
So obviously my algorithm on YouTube now is just all Oasis, everything, because of, doing the podcast and doing the research. So I saw a thing of Liam Gallagher on Gogglebox, which I've never watched myself. So I was like, yeah, I'll give it a click, whatever. And it was obviously a celebrity Gogglebox, because I know they have like, normal people that become celebrities.
It's the Liam's council house.
Yeah.
So on this Gogglebox thing, it's a celebrity thing, and it's like his mum, who for some reason, like you said in the other episode, I recognise his mum, which is kind of a weird thing. But then there was someone next to him, and I was like, oh, cool, it's that train guy. Because I thought, they'll just mix the celebrities and they can chat and watch TV together. And it wasn't.
Who was it?
It was his son.
Yeah, what?
I thought it was that Francis train guy because of his haircut. So
what's his son called? It's
Lennon.
It's not Lennon. It's the other one.
No,
Julius.
Julius.
Julian.
It's Julian. Yeah, Julian. Yeah. Well, it's a funny story. Speaking of the Gallagher boys, I won't go into it too much, but at my old job, one of the Gallagher boys did work experience.
All right.
Yeah. So basically, his dad would come and rehearse, and then I guess his dad was like, "You should get a job," and they came and worked at our place, and he was there for like 2 weeks, maybe a month or something.
So you were Liam Gallagher's son's boss for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I wasn't his boss. I'm no one's boss. I'm just one of the guys. I'm the same as you.
Man of the people. Yeah, classic.
But
salt of the earth.
absolutely, yeah, sweetheart.
So tell us about it.
Really, really nice lad. And then, in the same, I told the story about seeing Liam Gallagher from the side of stage for a little bit at Glastonbury. I was there and was packing up some gear that we'd been hiring out to one of the artists on before, and he came up and he was like, "Oh, you're right," and he was like chatting with us, and he's like, "Oh, I feel bad that I'm not like working," and I was like,
"You were like,
your dad's on stage right now. Who gives a fuck?" I was like, "Go just get in there." And then he came back about 5 minutes later, and he brought us these Coronas for me and the other guy who were working there, and he gave them us, and it was like, "Oh, that's so sweet." It was like, he's giving us backstage Gallagher Coronas. But he was like genuinely like a really sweet lad. I asked him, I was like, "Oh, so why are you named Lennon?" No, knowing it was. And I was like, "Oh, was it after the Russian politician?" And he was like, "Oh, no, it's John Lennon." I was like, "Yeah, no." we never spoke. I don't think any of us ever spoke about Oasis to it, because like, why the fuck would you want to hear it?
Yeah.
So that's as much as I got out of it. But yeah, genuinely. Seemed like a really nice, sweet lad.
Top
Put
lad.
some graft in. Yeah. Got a lot of respect for him. Don't know his other brother who's on Gogglebox. But
He loves trains. That's all we know.
Yeah.
All right, boys, another good episode. Thank you very much for your company. We'll see you next time. Remember to follow the podcast on all the social media channels. And we'll see you next time on the Road to Wembley, live in 2025. The washback.
Imagine stumbling over this podcast to see three boys in their 30s
Because this is where
taste testing Oasis.
this is where the retention of the video just drops right off.